and welcome to the Challengers Stop at Nothing campaign in association with Moneycontrol and CNBC TV 18, brought to you by Dell Technologies, an initiative to empower the small and medium enterprises. And I'm your host, Ruchira Sharma. Small businesses are key drivers for the country's economic growth. So, when the pandemic caused them to halt production, disrupted supply chains, and caused many delays in distribution network, the MSME sector was severely impacted. Our topic for today is how can the sector level up for the year 2022? And how can small companies survive and thrive in the new normal? So let us find out all that and more. Technology plays a pivotal role in the new normal. It can enable the MSME sector to catalyze their growth potential and stay agile. And through the course of this discussion with leading industry experts, we will focus on the key trends and developments and also attempt to address the challenges faced by the small and medium businesses to forge a path toward recovery amidst the current disruptions. But before we deep dive into this discussion, I would like to introduce my esteemed panelist, Mr. Chandrakant Salunke, Chairman and MD Macro Group of Enterprises and Founder and President SME Chamber of India, Mr. Kishore Karat, former MD and CEO, Indian Bank and IDBI Bank, also Chairman, SME Banking and Finance, SME Chamber of India, and Mr. Rakesh Vij, founder and CEO, TrueMind Software Systems. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. And we will also have the Dell teams addressing all the concerns of the audience as we speak. So you can just put your queries in the chat box and the Dell team will revert on that. So, moving on to the first question, Mr. Chandrakant, as the economy is bouncing back to life following the economic downturn of last year, how has the landscape changed and how do you think the sector navigated through the disruptions caused by the pandemic?
First of all, thank you very much for inviting me to share my thoughts. Ruchira, you are aware that, particularly when this pandemic started and the lockdown started, the most fear amongst the MSME sector, which was, how they can survive, how they can compete, and how they can, restart their business. April month, May month, June 2020, 3 months, mostly all the MSME sector was totally locked down, except the essential product manufacturer. But nevertheless, the technology has given the hand holding, the technology has given a proper support to the MSME sector. Therefore, they have started doing business from home. Rather, we know that work from home, but doing business from home started by MSMEs. And therefore, after June 2020, everything was come little bit normal. And the SME sector played very, very important role to accomplish the target of the supply chain management. Now, coming back to the how they have benefited, there are plenty of platforms created by the top companies like Dell. Dell has given the very good software, very good solutions, smart business solutions, hardware, software, and therefore MSME sector has started using. Particularly, those entrepreneurs are not aware about what kind of technology available, whether it is affordable or not, whether it is can be useful or not. So therefore, they started identifying, and SME Chamber of India played very, very important role during this pandemic. We have encouraged, educated, and given some handholding our MSME sector to buy affordable smart business solutions, buy hardware, buy technology to start smooth their business. Because unless until you will not use the advanced technology, you can't provide a quality services. Without using the advanced technology for industrial promotion, industrial activity, industrial automation, you can't develop your productivity. So therefore, SME Chamber of India played very, very important role. Rather, we have started many closed down industries during that time. We had given the permissions permissions from the government, from police department. So many entrepreneurs face a lot problem to get the raw material. We have supported them to get the raw material, rather especially for the essential product manufacturing. They face a lot problem, so we have supported them. So I'm sure that Dell has played very, very important role, and I'm sure that now coming back to the now the on the track now these businesses, all businesses are smoothly running now, and almost I think 60% MSMEs in India understand the importance of the technology, importance of the Dell, and the importance of the platform, or especially for the smart business solution. I think they can absorb, they can acquire, and they can continue their business activity by providing the quality services and quality productivity.
Definitely. So that's true, Mr. Chandrakant. Definitely, digitization is the only way forward. So, Mr. Kishore, due to the pandemic, what do you think were the key learnings, and how did SMEs navigate through the disruptions and deal with the the slowdown that the pandemic caused?
We were seeing that after the pandemic, particularly there was a little difficulty for particularly MSME sector to come up quickly. But when slowly, when the lockdown was relaxed and people were allowed to do some activities, the businesses were also allowed to open. And then the government also came out with the Atmanirbhar packages because during the pandemic, particularly MSME had faced a lot of difficulties. Their working capitals were wiped out. They had suffered on their quality of their stock, the quality of their receivables, because everybody was actually not having any business. When business is strong, particularly closed down,
Mhm.
the cash flow was not there with people. And in the absence of cash flow, they were finding very difficult to run the businesses. So the government's Atmanirbhar package came very handy to all of them. The government announced various packages, including one 3 lakh crore rupee package for MSME. Then
Mhm.
also for the stressed accounts also they had given 20,000 rupees package. For the startup they had given 50,000 crore rupees package. So all these packages had come very handy financially. But at the same time, as Mr. Salunke said, there was definitely a shift from manual working to digital working. A lot of
Correct.
transactions were taking place digitally because people were working from far off places from their workplaces. So the transactional actually shift was there on the digital platform. Most of it
Correct.
was there. Some areas where it was not possible to work from home, like manufacturing facilities, they
Mhm.
suffered because you need to be there on the machines to do the jobs. So
Mhm.
manufacturing units particularly were facing difficulties to recover from this setback of this pandemic. But subsequently, when almost after 8 9 months, when
Mhm.
everything was relaxed, the manufacturing also has come back. But during this pandemic time, what they have learned is moving on to IT platform is very much essential for all of them, even in the manufacturing process, because it has helped them two ways. One is increasing the efficiencies operationally as well as
Mhm.
financially. Secondly,
Definitely.
the kind of supply chain also got into this IT platform, so it
Mhm.
became easier for them even procurement or even their sales and all. So most of the activities when they were shifting on a digital platform,
Mhm.
they actually realized. So I should not say it was a good, but it was a blessing in disguise that because
Definitely.
of this kind of a
There's been
pandemic
learning.
or this kind of a challenging situation, people learned a lot and they moved on
Absolutely.
to digital platform, which is now giving them a lot of benefits.
Definitely. That was truly well said. I'd like to bring you in, Mr. Rakesh. Although digitization is an ongoing process, and as our co panelists mentioned, the COVID-19 pandemic has compelled MSMEs to transform their businesses. Could you share a user scenario and which can explain to our audiences how digital transformation has been an essential survival tool, especially for small and medium businesses?
So I'll take my example. Do remember very distinctly that it was a Friday. We went from office, and kind of we thought we'll take a close the office for like a week or so, and let things come back to normal. And then suddenly the lockdown was announced, right?
Mhm.
So we were very unsure. Nobody had come across this unprecedented situation, but the show must go on, and the IT obviously, customers don't wait for you. Uh, the
Absolutely.
good thing was, right, we being a new age company, so everybody had laptops, everybody had yeah, so we kind of were a cloud first company, so anything and everything we did was on the cloud.
Mhm.
And very soon we realized that it really didn't make a difference whether you were sitting next to each other.
So, small businesses are hesitant to adopt digital technologies, but going forward, how do you think they can increase the pace of digital adoption, and how can businesses use technology as an enabler to ensure future readiness?
So I would say people are not at all hesitant. So people have realized that it's only people or the companies which are going to adopt digitization or technology, that's the way for survival to the future, right? I mean, there's no other way. Of course, there are limitations in terms of how much you can invest upfront, right?
Mm.
Uh, and exactly articulating your requirements as well, right? So again, all these digital systems require a lot of interaction and kind
Mm.
of understanding and making sure the workflow
Mm.
is done through. I would differ a little bit that there is not at all a hesitation, but it is more of how much you can invest in digitization.
Mm.
I think over the Western world, for sure, all aspects is getting more and more digitized. Even in India, right, for that matter, a lot of our technology has got digitized, and there is still a room for more. But I think there is definitely a mindset change, and at the same time, a kind of an adoption of all this in various aspects of life.
Definitely. So, Mr. Chandrakant, what are your thoughts here? In India, what are the domestic challenges that we face in adopting technology, like lack of measurable return on investment or unavailability of right technology talent? What are your thoughts here?
See, particularly most of the MSMEs are not aware about the advanced technology, affordable technology, and patented technology. Particularly, I'm talking about industrial automation. But there are plenty of platforms like created by the many companies like Dell. But somehow, most of the MSMEs are looking for more education and knowledge, and therefore we have started sharing knowledge, giving a proper handholding, guidance, training programs, particularly for the MSME, not only entrepreneurs but their next workforce, because each entrepreneur understand the importance, but the who is working in their factory or company or office, their main workforce, they should be given a hand holding education and regular mentoring session. Because of that only they can start using the new ideas, new concept, smart business solutions, so for productivity purpose or a quality services. Another very interesting point I have observed that most of the MSMEs from the rural area, they have started understanding more on the technology part. Because in India, earlier days, when Mr. Kharad when he joined in a bank, maybe in the 30, 40, 35 years ago, that time if your office is in Mumbai, Pune, Delhi, Bangalore, then you are important company. But now you can start business in any corner of India. Only thing is that you should be a registered company, you should be having a quality technology, you should have a knowledgeable technology, and you should have a proper systematic manufacturing or business operation. You can
Wonderful.
go to any part of India. Now you can deliver product. There is a good transportation system. There is a good, the manpower system available. Only thing is that creating awareness. What Dell can, accept or go ahead, creating awareness and providing proper hand holding to each and every entrepreneurs, particularly their main workforce. Then
Mm.
all the digital SME can be converted into quality services. So this is my thoughts on this matter.
Definitely. So, Mr. Kishore, what is your input here? In India, what are some of the domestic challenges that have been hampering a more accelerated pace of digital adoption? And do you think lack of measurable ROI on high capital expenditure or unavailability of right technology talent are some of those?
See, there are various issues, in fact, MSME people normally face. Capital, of
Mm.
course, and the funding is a main challenge for which they always struggle, because they are always starving insofar as funds and capital is concerned. But other challenges, like as you rightly said, see, first of all, we need to understand the MSME segment is a very vast, and they are coming from the different sectors of the economy, and therefore it's very difficult for all these sectors to actually move on the digital platform. That is the very first challenge for them, because the technologies which is used, and again the MSME segment, if you see, most of them actually, particularly in the manufacturing, if you see, they are not producing the end user products. They are actually linked between the manufacturing processes many times. So adopting the technology at the link situation of the processes, that is number one. Number two,
Mm.
the forward and backward linkages, they also, if they are actually moved on to technology platform, then it becomes a seamless process for them. If the proper funding is given, I am sure proper funding and proper knowledge is given about the use of technology, everybody will like to shift on the technology platform. Those who are not shifting right now. That's my thought on it.
Definitely. So liquidity of funds is, of course, an obstacle, and the other one is, as you said, lack of knowledge or proper handholding. So coming back to you, Mr. Rakesh, we have some numbers here that if technology adoption gets its due focus attention, then medium enterprises are likely to play a significant role in the government's 5 trillion economy vision by 2025. And yet, the pandemic and the ensuing lockdowns have led to halted production and disrupted supply chains. So, how do you think companies in this scenario have adopted technologies across the value chain? And you can share your own experience here.
Yeah. So I think, I mean, a lot of industries have transformed, and not only during the pandemic, but they were actually undergoing. But pandemic has kind of, forced a shift, right, in
Mhm.
adopting digitalization. I mean, the classic example is like fintech, right? I mean, how the I mean, I don't remember the last time I signed a check. I mean, that was just a small thing, right?
Or
But
yes, physically went to a bank. Yes.
yeah, I mean, it's been ages. I have never seen my bank, right? I mean, and it's that is you and me, and even for us as enterprises, whether it's medium or small or even large enterprise. So that's a paradigm shift which we all had, because of technology. And pandemic has forced us, right? I mean, there was nobody at the bank. You still had to pay in your salaries. You had to collect all your money, all your
Mm.
forex remittances, whatever, all had to be done, right? And it was done seamlessly, right? So there was no problem. So this is one industry which has actually transformed a lot, and I'm sure there is still a lot of other transformation which is going to take place. Other example I talked about was edutech, right? I mean, this is a nobody would have thought kids, right? I mean, whether it's school students, college students, uh, everybody kind of giving the exams. My son, who's in the engineering, yeah, and
Mm.
for last 4 semesters, he's sitting at home and he's doing all his stuff like he would have been doing in college.
So thank you for those insights. But coming back to you, Mr. Kishore, what are your thoughts on this? How is AI and VR revolutionizing the entire scenario? And can investing in cloud services and cybersecurity improve business agility and flexibility?
Yes, of course. When you talk about the technology, it is obviously going to help all of them, all these particularly small businesses. You spoke about artificial intelligence. I am quite sure that these days everybody is actually talking about customer relationship management, CRM. We used to talk earlier about CRM in good olden days, that customer relationship management, because all businesses depend basically on the customers. But today, the AI technologies which are coming, therein you can actually understand what are the customers' requirement, how customers' needs are changing fast, or how each choices are changing fast. Accordingly, you can align your businesses as per the customer choices. So AI is definitely helping the small all businesses, particularly the MSME will help a lot if they are actually adopting these kind of technologies. uh, I can say the internet-based business systems or technologies when these people are going to use. See,
Mhm.
one thing is the data accuracy. What we have seen as a bankers uh, is normally this segment is not having a data accuracy because their backend is actually managed by somebody else and not in-house. When they
Correct.
are having internet-based businesses, internet-based accounting systems,
Mhm.
they will have actually access to their database, access to their information system from anywhere, wherever they are doing the business.
All right.
That is going to help them definitely when we are talking about internet-based business. Thirdly, the scaling up of the business, which is obviously a very challenge to MSME segment, because
Mm.
MSME, by and large, what we have seen, it's a very localized business. They are not able to grow beyond their geographical areas. But through internet-based businesses, I am quite sure they will be in a position to expand their businesses to outside their geographies which were confined earlier. So they can actually ramp up their activities, they can scale up their business activities, and
Mm.
that is definitely going to help them insofar as this is. And thirdly, when they are scaling up, the
All right.
information system which is available through the data and through internet, that can
Mm.
actually make them agile insofar as aligning themselves for the competitiveness is concerned. Their competitiveness earlier, because internet-based systems they were not using, they were not having proper data about their own businesses also, I'm telling you. So
All right.
they were failing insofar as competition is concerned. With
Mm-hmm.
adoption of the technology, with adoption of the artificial intelligence or ML technologies, they will be in a position to actually seamlessly change as per the customer liking. They will be in a position to scale up. They will be in a position to bring accuracy in their data system. They will be in a position to rather get lot of efficiency in their operations as well as in their financial system by bringing on a digital platform or IT-based accounting systems. They will be in a position to actually save a lot of money, which was going wastage earlier. Saving money also is going to add to their profitability. Uh, MSME, again, Mr. Chandrakant Saloke will agree with me. They actually function on extremely thin margins. So
Mm-hmm.
little bit of variations in anywhere, they are very sensitive for those variations, and many times they start losing money. But with artificial intelligence and with the market awareness, they will be in a position to align their product line. They will be in a position to align their processes, and they can save a lot, at least by way of changes in the business models. So I think these are the many benefits which small businesses, MSME
Mm-hmm.
segment can definitely work on.
All right.
For them,
So,
moving will be definitely in their favor. But
mm-hmm.
as I said, they need funding support. Again, I will reiterate that because they are always working on a very, very thin funding support.
Margins. Hmm. All right. So, Mr. Chandrakant, as Mr. Kishore also pointed out, the data is going to change the entire narrative, and cloud computing has become the most prominent go to solution. But whenever we speak of data, we also speak of security. So, what cyber security concerns have risen since small businesses have began this whole process and they have begun to function remotely?
See, usually MSME sector are aware about the technology, are aware about some of them for cyber security or attacks are happening.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, MSMEs are not doubtful about the cloud business, cloud system. They said my data is there and how I can secure my data, but they are not aware that all the banks, top banks, are also putting their money on the cloud. All the information of the on cloud, all the top companies are putting on the all information cloud. So therefore, affordable cloud services, if available, MSME will definitely accept it. Another point, cyber security. Security wise, particularly MSMEs are ignoring because they are not understanding importance of that, because data is a fuel now, and because of that most of the MSMEs losing their information, bank
Mm-hmm.
details. So many entrepreneurs are facing problem because money is snatched by under the cyber crime. So therefore I suggest and guide our MSME sector that you should accept and adapt advanced technology. Along with that, you should think about security also, because
All
when
right.
you put money in a bank, you how you
Mm-hmm.
hide your password, or how you hide your keep your checkbook in a drawer or a locker. Similarly, you should use the security also, because security will give you definitely a confidence, and the top priority for that. I'm sure that Dell or any other institution can come out with this
Mm-hmm.
kind of security system, and it will be helpful to SME sector.
Definitely. Mr. Rakesh, continuing on the earlier point, there has been a culture of use of technologies in areas such as communication, e commerce. But what about marketing and sales? Do you think these areas have also entered into a catching up mode, or do they have a technological edge post pandemic?
Yeah, well, that's a very interesting question. I think again, when look at insurance agents, right? So they could not reach out to people. In fact, we had one of the insurance aggregators reaching out to us that within their mobile app they wanted a one-on-one kind of a conference call the way we are having, and we actually came up with a solution within a month, and this was post-pandemic, right, when everything had come to a standstill, right?
Okay.
uh, you asked other aspects about sales and marketing, right? So marketing, so today is a world of social media, right? And obviously, whether it's LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook or any other social media, right? So
Mhm.
so people are getting to that to reach out to their customers, right? And that's how some of the valuations of internet-based companies have increased. So that's definitely another aspect. There is a lot of technology being used, right? The way we were actually conducting, we used to have face to face. Now calls is all acceptable, right? When you do all those sales calls, there are some conversational AI companies, which actually kind of based on how you are actually communicating, kind of understand whether you will actually buy the product or not, or look at your face and then detect and predict in terms of what your engagement is.
Okay.
So there is a lot of technology which is coming. I would say that is at the nascent stage right now, but very soon that's the next flip which is going to have in those areas as well.
Mr. Kishore, would you like to share your insights here? How do you think technology is going to be an enabler in the future to mitigate risks and maintain operational efficiency?
Yes, of course. As I said earlier, the technology, use of technology is definitely going to help all the small businesses for increasing their efficiency. But when we talk about the cloud computing and all, slightly there is not much awareness. There is no confidence also that their data will be secure, or there will not be any kind of cyber attacks on their data or system. But slowly, people are getting used to it, because earlier people, when these mobile systems, mobile phones actually, when they were introduced in India, and particularly when the smartphones came, uh, very few people were using that. But today I see the rural areas also, people are using very comfortably the smartphones. They are doing even banking transactions on the smartphone. So that confidence building has already started. One challenge what these business segment actually face is, see, they have to retrofit the technology, the new technologies or digital platforms, because they're already having some businesses. They have invested money in their businesses, in their machineries, in their setups, in their processes. When they want to move on the, let's say, digital platform, see, starting the new entrepreneur or new company totally on a smart platform with a digital backup and all, it's a different thing. But if you are running a business for 10, 20 years, 15 years, and if you are required to move on the digital platform, then it is a retrofit, and that many times they faces challenges, because their certain processes are fixed processes. They want to change everything and then move on to platform. In fact, in banking also, when we are changing one version to another version, we face a lot of difficulties. Even though we are having now, banks are gone for, let's say, their mergers are there in the banking system. So when two banks are using different technology platform, they find it very difficult to actually get merged. So for certain time they get a setback in their operations, in their coming back to set systems and all. The same thing happens with the MSMEs also, or all the businesses for that matter, when they are actually moving on to different technologies. But over a period, I'm quite sure these technologies will be adopted by all. The government also is laying a lot of that
Emphasis.
optic fiber, emphasis is there, and it is going almost in every and each village, every and each gram panchayat area. It is covered. I'm sure by now it must be more than 90% it is covered. So once the rural area also comes onto NOF network, the internet will be very seamlessly available to all of them. And in that case, by then the awareness and knowledge about the, let's say, cloud computing and all will definitely increase. The new generations are coming in the businesses, that also is making a difference, because older generations were not that familiar with the computer technologies. But the new generation, these boys and girls who are coming up, they are really adopting it very fast. So I'm quite sure the entire canvas of the MSME is going to change in a less than a decade's time. I can say in next 5 years or so, you will find that they are actually moving very seamlessly onto digital platform, and that is going to add a lot into so their contributions to the Indian GDP is concerned.
Definitely. In fact, we have some numbers here that MSMEs that have adopted e-commerce have reported 27% higher revenue growth than their offline counterparts. And yet, Mr. Chandrakant, Indian MSMEs have often favored traditional methods of working. And as we all agreed, whether it was due to lack of funds or due to lack of understanding, that has been the case. The pace of digital adoption is not as high as it should be. So, going forward, what is your key takeaway or your suggestion for this sector to increase the pace of digital adoption?
See, the MSME sector should, think that if they want to level up by 2022, because almost all MSME sector in India struggling, still struggling. Even though we look at the growth in the GDP and growth in a capital market, that is a different. But look at the ground level reality; they are still struggling. So therefore, if they are to achieve the 216 billion US dollars contribution for the GDP by 2024, they have to adapt the advanced technology. They have to adapt the industrial technology. They have to go for automation in industry. They have to adapt the system for the industrial 4.0. Other we are talking 4.0, but the Italy, Germany, and the America is talking now 5.0. So therefore, we have to focus particularly on the advanced technology, improvement of the system for the manufacturing industry. Also, the banking sector come ahead with the proper financial product for the for the creating the their empowerment of the or completion of their uh, financial fuel. And mostly, my suggestion to the government agencies: create level playing field to
All
create
right.
a manufacturing hub in India. Then only we can say if MSMEs are there, India is growing. If MSME is growing, then India definitely achieving the target.
Definitely. And in MSME sector does play a very critical role in India achieving its targets. But just before we wrap up, one quick question to all of you. According to you, which are the top three sectors that will benefit immensely from the adoption of advanced technology? We can start with you, Mr. Kishore.
I can definitely say because the what we can see that tremendous growth is actually of the consumable goods. So those who are in the consumable goods segment, and they may be in the supply chain also, or they may be the end businessman about the consumable goods. Definitely, that is going to be the best sector insofar as India is concerned. Secondly, the education sector also is actually coming up very fast. They are actually moving on to digital platform, and which is extremely required for our country, because if you go into the hinterlands of our country, we talk about this Byju's and all those platforms which are actually so much of advertisements are coming, so much of their valuation is also going up. So that makes a mark on our mind. But if you go into the rural areas today, also there are many education institutes. They are not having proper even infrastructure. They are not they don't have proper buildings. So under such circumstances, if the technology has a lot of potential insofar as the education sector is concerned, there also I am seeing tremendous potential, and that can grow very fast when this technology is adopted. Third sector which comes in my mind is the healthcare, and this pandemic has really given us insight that how important the healthcare is. All these days we were not actually, fortunately, this pandemic has actually shown us the way that how much is our budgetary allocation also is required to be channelized towards the healthcare. So in the healthcare also, and fortunately, all the hospitals which are coming up in our country, they are actually having advanced technologies. In fact, India is known for the medical tourism, but that's one part of the geographical area I can say which is developed. Even today, during the pandemic, we saw that our rural area was suffering like anything. They were running helter-skelter for getting the medical facilities. So the healthcare sector is another sector which has a tremendous potential. So these are the my three picks which will have a boost if they are moving on to digital platform.
Thank you for sharing those. Mr. Rakesh, what are your inputs here? Top three sectors that will benefit immensely.
Yeah, I think fintech is one, right? I mean, I think obviously that has transformed, and I think there is still a lot of scope for further growth. I think fintech is for sure. For sure, health tech, right? I think we have still achieved, right? I mean, I think our technology is still limited to just using it, telemedicine or telecalling. But I think there is a lot of scope for adding technology in that, and the edutech, which is of course we hear about Byju's and all the success stories, but I think the real fun is actually somebody sitting in a remote village actually getting to hear a lecture from an IIT professor and then transforming India. So I think that's the
Top
potential
three.
which all this edutech can have.
All right. Mr. Chandrakant, your top three picks of sectors that will benefit immensely from advanced technologies.
See, in India, particularly, the service sector involved in the SME sector are are totally neglected by the advanced technology. That is a huge opportunity in that segment. Number two is a manufacturing industry, particularly those are into supply chain management or contribution in exports. And third is the SME sector. The SMBs, those are involved or started in manufacturing industry. That is the three
Mhm.
segments we have to focus. Then we can start service industry exports. We can put efforts for the manufacturing output, and we can put more efforts for particularly to get the say like a manufacturing industry to export contribution. And of course, MSME sector are a large employment generation agency, and they can be put efforts for the development of the sector. So this is three takeaway for the SME sector.
So, thank you, gentlemen, for joining us for this extremely insightful discussion. To sum up, adopting digital transformation is going to be a huge enabler for the sector, and it will increase opportunities and enable resilient future and enable the sector to also level up in the year 2022. Today, to understand how digital adoption can happen seamlessly, especially in the small and medium sector, I am in conversation with Ms. Swati Mishra, Director and GM Small Businesses, Dell Technologies India. Hello, Ms. Swati, and welcome to the show.
Hi, Ruchira. Thank you. Thank you for hosting me.
Great. It's great to have you here with us. And the first question I'd like to ask you, Swati, is that small businesses in India face unique challenges in terms of lack of liquidity, limited digital literacy, cost implications, just like some of them. So, how do you think MSMEs can actually navigate effectively through a digital framework?
That's a good question, Ruchira. The past 2 years have been pretty transformative, I would say, for the India small business landscape, right? So, technology adoption, in fact, in the SB segment has seen a huge jump. In the
Mm-hmm.
pre-COVID era, the technology adoption among SMEs was just 29%, and guess what? That percentage has moved to 40 post-COVID,
Right.
and there's another 40% who's talking about digitizing, going digital, and getting better at how they do businesses, right? Among the
Mm-hmm.
SB customers in India, where stability in the internet bandwidth, right? Most of us know about it.
Absolutely.
We have seen that in our own calls, right? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Use
Yes.
of personal devices, right? For us, we have office devices. For SMEs, they had
Mm-hmm.
to use their own personal devices and get them live onto business. And the access to virtual collaboration tools, right, to be able to talk like this is something that doesn't come naturally to the SMEs, right? So those are the challenges that emerged. So
All
at
right.
Dell, and now let's talk about Dell. How does Dell, help the SMEs to succeed in the last 2 years when they were facing these challenges?
Mm-hmm.
So we try and help these SMEs achieve more with the help of technology option. We try and support them on their digital transformation journey by
All
offering
right.
customized solutions, right? So in fact, I would like to talk a bit about our very important small business advisor program, where
Mm-hmm.
companies which are 1 to 99 employees can actually receive free consultation on how to plan and optimize their IT investment. This program is has highly trained individuals who have many hours of training, like 160 plus hours of training, and they are
Mm-hmm.
dedicated and available for our customers, whenever the customers need them, the SMB customers, through email, through chat, through phone. Besides this, we also, during this era, launched something which is called a rewards program, right, which is very exclusive to SB businesses, where
All right.
SBs can actually avail discount coupons when
Mm-hmm.
they purchase, and they can use that later for kind of increasing their IT infrastructure, right? So we are working very closely with the SMB segment in India to evaluate that, how their investment can help them to reduce cost, solve
Mm-hmm.
business issues, and drive growth. So with this exclusive GTM strategy that we have at Dell, we want to show our commitment to the SME segment in India, and we want to reestablish the fact that we are a one-stop shop for them to help them succeed.
All right. Thank you, Swati, for sharing those insights. But the next question to you is that how is digital transformation an essential survival tool now for MSMEs? It's no longer a choice. It's no longer an option. It's a business necessity. And how does it really enable small businesses to ensure future readiness? And going forward, what are the tips or the strategies that they need to understand to choose the right partner for a seamless digital transition?
Great. I mean, you said it right. It's no more a choice, Ruchira. In fact, in today's era, our end customers expect a 24/7 availability, right? Look at us when we were homebound during the lockdown, right? We expected help during any hour of the day because our work hours changed, right? We became more global in the way we operate, and that's what the customers, the end users of these SMEs expect. They expect, and hence it is important that SMEs have a robust digital strategy to reach new markets, right? Today, what you have, a lot of new growth markets, but how do our SMEs tap that market? They got to get digital, right? In fact, most customers today. So if my SME is not able to, to be able to provide that digital payment platform to the end customer will jump out, right, to a competition where they can get this. So these are basic things. These have become basics today, right?
Mhm.
So and the best part is, see, the small businesses in India have a very positive sentiment towards revival. They want to grow, right? And all they need is a strong technology partner who can provide them, these tailor-made solutions to help them
Absolutely.
match the business needs that they have today, right? So, you know one of the another things that small businesses should keep in mind is that, they need to have a structured approach. Now that we are two
Mhm.
years into the pandemic, right? The
Absolutely.
approach has to be structured in terms of what is best suited for them, their people,
Mhm.
their internal organization, which makes them most effective with their end customers, right? They must also have a very strong, strategy to understand how technology can drive growth for them and explore
Mhm.
new avenues in the market to reach new customers. Using analytics, AI. I mean, you would have noticed that it has become chatbots has become so
Yes.
common. The banks, you call them these days. Earlier, everything
Mm.
used to be, dial line. Now it's chatbot most of the time, right? So you
Yes.
see, across large to small organization, they are transforming, right? And I would say these small steps of getting digital, it requires some amount of investment in the short
Mhm.
term, has very large returns in the long run. So
Absolutely.
I would say, these are small tips that I would say that small businesses definitely need to pick up and kind of get ready for this.
Very, very important point there. Small investments can go a long way in ensuring a seamless digital adoption. But
Yes.
moving on to the next question, lockdowns and the halted production, disrupted supply chains, they forced the small businesses, especially, to rethink their business models. So, give us some user scenarios where you saw how technology helped them to assess the damage or mitigate the risk and actually maintain business continuity and operational efficiency.
Yes, Ruchira. Another important thing that you brought into. In fact, COVID-19 has severely impacted the global and local economy. Right, that's not hidden. All of us know. But what all of us also know that the most impacted one have been the SMEs in India, and I'm sure it's across the world. But you see, the Indian economy today, I mean, MSMEs are the backbone of Indian economies, right? So when they get impacted, it
Mhm.
actually translates to, the loss of income, the employment to a large number of people in India, right? So it has a large term impact when SMEs get impacted. It A lot
Mhm.
of people who are in that strata of society in India get impacted in terms of how they operate on a daily basis. And in fact, if you see, for the last couple of years, India's growth story and our GDP has been primarily driven by the MSMEs, right? Especially the services industry, the manufacturing
Mhm.
industry, the IT industry. Uh, MSME have really helped to kind of bump up these industries, right? So the lockdown actually interrupted their daily business
Everything.
operations, and
Mhm.
it really made it difficult for them to survive, right? So during such times, digital transformation, with MSME really, help them to embrace integrated operations, provide,
Mhm.
in their supply chain, there was a complete transparency. I'm talking about the ones who adopted, and I'm like I said, there are many who are standing and in the line to be able to go
Mhm.
digital. But it definitely enables them to upscale operational capabilities within the org, right? So
All right.
I can tell you about Dell. During the lockdown period, we worked very closely with our customers,
Mhm.
provided them with remote support, not only for buying, but for being able to set up their infra, because we were all in our houses, we couldn't come out, right? So we set up a very robust um, remote support system to be able
Mhm.
to help a small customer. He can talk to my expert, buy devices which gets delivered to his home, and then the remote support gets helps to get it set up and get going. And while we did all of that, we ensured that security, digital security is taken care of. In fact, we had gone ahead and very quickly created some work from home solution packages, right? When I say
All right.
packages, basically this is a one stop bundle where
Mhm.
we compile everything. It's laptops, desktop, server, which is basically, if you really want to set up a small office,
Mhm.
it's a work from home solution, it is called, right?
All
and
right.
and we deploy that at customers place. So we took many steps so that we make it easy for our SMEs to adopt technology, and it
Mhm.
becomes a plug and play for them. Yeah.
Great. You mentioned about working from home. Whenever we talk about working from home, it is a huge challenge for small businesses, and they have to also begin entire operations and everything else in a remote fashion. What were the major cybersecurity concerns that arose during this time, and how did you tackle those?
If I have to give you some data, three-fourth of our SMEs in India were impacted in 2021 with one or the other small cyber threat. So
Mhm.
I would suggest, now is the time. And while some of them have already adopted, I would say now is the time for all of the businesses, all of the SMEs, to plan well against these threats, because this isn't going anywhere. This is only rising, right? So I would say they must invest in very robust IT support as well as data protection solutions, right? So, and I can tell you what Dell has, in store to offer in both these areas. So Dell has a Pro Support Plus program with
Mhm.
Support Assist, which actually warns customers about the hardware issues in advance before it appears, and you can fix it before they cause downtime in your office. That's one.
Mhm.
Dell
All
has
right.
very strong data protection solutions, and we have products which can actually help customers to create very robust cybersecurity policies, which
Mhm.
can help them to actually stay protected against all the potential ransomware threats that might come with their way. Quick adoption of digital products like CRM tools, becoming capable for being able to sell on e-commerce platforms,
Mhm.
enabling online payment, like I already said. These are very important tools to adopt if you really want your supply chain model, to be able to move efficiently and to be able
Mhm.
to operate well. This also adds to the productivity levels, right? You might not see it in a month, but in the long term, I can tell you this is all based on the data. I have been in the industry for 17 years, and
Mhm.
our customers have given us this feedback long term. You see productivity levels go up top notch.
Mhm.
Agility, right? You become much more flexible to be address customers needs, and you're able to streamline your operations. And Ruchira, actually today in the last 2 years, there was some data that I
Mhm.
was reading. Our most of the customers, most of the SMEs today are using third party e-commerce platforms, right? That's additional
Mhm.
cost, and which is why I said that.
Of
See,
course.
I smiled when you asked this question. It's this investment, but for the long term, the ROI is good, right? So rather than using a third party e-commerce platform, you rather invest and create small mini platforms for yourself, so that you're able
Mhm.
to kind of ramp up over your business. So I would say going digital by adopting latest technology with the help of Dell business experts. We are always there. SMEs can definitely optimize their finances, improve
Mhm.
productivity, and expand to new markets. You see, it's a win-win for all, for all of us.
Definitely. Definitely. So, as you rightly mentioned, technology is an enabler for growth, and it is a win win strategy that must be adopted at scale by the small and medium sector. So, that was Ms. Swati Mishra. Thank you so much for joining in, and thank you for sharing your insights with us.
Thank you, Ruchira. It was my pleasure to be with you today, and it was nice to share the insights. Thank you.
Thank you so much.